Let's face it, forensics is about traveling. We travel everywhere because we compete everywhere. It's a forensics tradition and seemingly a necessity. This year, my team alone traveled by 15-passenger van to New York City, Wisconsin, Kentucky, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, Tennessee, and through numerous other states in our quest to be part of the great forensics experience. Imagine the scene. 10 to 15 competitors and their luggage, script books and visual aids all crammed into the standard, ever popular, 15-passenger Ford, Dodge, or Chevy van burning down the highway. These vans are familiar, as most teams have one and use it almost every weekend. But these vans burn up gas like paper in a fire, getting only 12 to 17 miles per gallon, according to the U.S. Department of Energy on fueleconomy.gov, accessed March 8, 2010. And teams can travel thousands of miles a term. This toxic carbon a single team pumps out of their tailpipe and into the atmosphere alone would fill a large container ship. The gasoline we burn has a devastating effect on the planet that we all call home. We are literally burning up our environment as forensics teams by constantly traveling out of state in these vans, leaving a toxic trail of waste in our path. Sadly, we are not the good environmental stewards that we claim to be, and it's time our rubber meets the road to limit excessive forensics driving. Today, we'll examine the dangers of traveling so often out of state, and how staying in state more often and promoting tournaments within regional spheres will not only be less hazardous for the environment, but has the added advantage of fostering educational growth and compatibility as well. So first we will examine the problems that come with this excessive driving. According to The Economist of June 22, 2009, the average American drives about 12,400 miles a year, and this comes at a price. According to the Christian Science Monitor of October 7, 2009, this undaunted pollution accounts for the destruction of the environment in an area of over 150 national parks and other wilderness areas, destroying the habitats of the animals that live there and the beauty that many people across the nation have come to know and to love. Also, according to the March 10, 2009 article published on PBS.com, using clean vehicles to cover grounds that forensicators do would not be all that bad, as these vehicles have little to no pollution. These vehicles being EVs, hybrids, and fuel cell vehicles. However, we as teams do not have access to these kinds of vehicles as they're too expensive. Simply, since we're stuck with the 15 passengers, we need to make do and travel less. Since an average out-of-state trip in a 15-passenger van burns 50 gallons of gas, and according to the People's World of September 20th, 2009, 1 gallon of gas is equal to 20 pounds of CO2. This is over 1,000 pounds of toxic emissions that we're putting into our atmosphere. So now that we can see some clear-cut problems with forensics traveling, we need to figure out how this came to be. And the answer is simple: not enough in-state tournaments. Forensics teams love to travel out of state. This isn't necessarily for prestige or the desire to get out of state. Often, this arises out of the lack of teams in state that are capable of, or willing to, host a tournament. According to the Intercollegiate Forensics Tournament calendars of the 2009-2010 school year, there's an average of only 7 tournaments in state per year. This leaves teams with scholarship requirements for tournaments, or teams who simply have a desire to compete to qualify events for OFA with no other option than to travel out of state. We are doing this to our environment, but we can undo it. The solution is simple. We need to move to more regional centered tournaments, locating ourselves centrally rather than going to great lengths to travel out of state or even across states. If we as forensics teams and individual competitors could cut down our traveling time by only half each year, we could save the lives of hundreds of animals whose homes have become polluted by the toxins that our vans emit. We could help filter the air and reduce the amount of deadly toxins that are emitted if we only turned our attention towards the schools around us and how we can help to get them up and running and jump on this bandwagon that stays local instead of traveling far and wide. This will have positive repercussions on our local forensics teams as well. If we can rally together and make this dream a reality, we can also attempt to strengthen the teams that we already have around us. Schools that feel weak and unprepared to go up against stronger teams. Part of the reason that we as forensics teams like to travel is that we like to go up against stronger teams or weaker teams, but most importantly, teams that match the level of competition that we ourselves can put out. Therefore, if we focus some attention on bringing some of our more local teams up and out to compete, then we will be able to help have more competitive competitions locally more often. Now, I don't want to limit traveling altogether. I think that it's important to travel some weekends to get to know competitors from other areas and see how we compete against them. However, reducing our travel time, cutting it in half yearly, will save us so much in the long run, and the environment will truly benefit from this reduction. Of course, nationals and states are positive experiences for both teams and individuals, and should be traveled to, but we need to consider the benefits of reducing the number of students we take and the number of miles we travel throughout the rest of the year. Here's what we can do to get this plan in motion. We need to promote this idea, bring it to the attention of other teams. If only one team is on board, it will be difficult to make a change. But if we can rally together and make this work, we need to send out team members to other schools with either no forensics teams or very weak forensics teams and urge them to either start or strengthen. By sending in team members with high success rates, we can bring about new interest and even new talent. And if a new team should sprout, then we can continue to send in our own to help them organize and get ready to compete. So now we have seen the dangers of traveling out of state and how reducing our travel time and distances can help us to reduce the spread of pollution and also stop the wear and tear of the environment that we yearly cause. It is important that we as forensics team members reduce our impact on the environment. We talk about things that matter every day in persuasive and informative rounds, and even debate over the conditions of the environment. So, we must take a stand now while we still have the ability to reduce our own impact and help to make things right for years to come. Even if other organizations refuse to reduce, at least we can know that as forensicators, we are making a difference.